Hello everyone. I was going through an old art box of mine and I found this set of pins that I used in art school. So I thought that would be a really neat thing to show you guys. And I believe there's one of these pins that need to be cleaned. I looked through them and most of them are pretty clean. I did a good job of that before putting them away. But I think there's one of them that could use some additional cleaning, so that's what I'm going to do today, is show you these pins. You can see they're pretty heavily used. I used them all throughout college. In the days before, right before, but still before, computers were heavily used for graphics design, at least in college classes. So everything that we did was done by hand, and a lot of the art that we drew was done with these pens. This here is a tool that is used to take the pins apart, and we'll be using that. And then this obviously is the bottle full of ink, but it is all dried out, and I don't think there was much left in it to begin with. But it is waterproof black India ink. Very awesome stuff. So basically what you would do is take your pen and unscrew the cap, and each one of these pins has a different sized tip to it. This being the largest, going down to the smallest here. So I picked one here in the middle. But in fact, I think I'm going to pick the largest one because it'll be easier for you guys to see it. There we go. So this is for making the largest, thickest lines that you could with these pens. And it says 1.20. So I forget what that is actually measuring, but that's the largest number that's written here on this little band of all of these. So if you wanted to use it, you would unscrew this part, and that gave you this little reservoir here that you would fill up. And I think it's been a while since these have been opened. There we go. So you would take off this little collar, and then you take the reservoir out. Fill it up with ink, not too far. And then you would put it back on. And screw it all back together. So I did that many, many, many times. But because it is ink and it dries pretty rapidly if you don't keep it sealed, and it's been many years since these have been used, because then I was introduced to computers. That made everything so much easier. But this one here I noticed, here on the very tip, seems to still have a little bit of ink right there. So I'm going to show you how you clean these pens with this one here, because the other ones actually look pretty good. And you don't want to mess around with them too much because they are fairly delicate, especially the ones down here that are super thin. I'll show you, this is the thinnest one. And it draws just like a hair width of a line. Super dark black, if that's the ink you're using. So you can use these and fill them up with different colors of ink as well. So we're going to need this tool. We'll close this and move it out of the way. And we'll bring in some of our tools here. What we need to do is fill this up with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And we're going to have a few Q-tips here that we'll use. And then a nice, clean, white cloth. Okay. So we will start by disassembling what we've already shown you. And this was one of the more heavily used. This one and the gray color pen I used a lot. So the collar comes off. And so does the reservoir. Okay. So now we need to take apart this nib. So we have this little tool here, and it has a flattened part on this circle, and that fits over a flattened part here on the nib. So it fits just like that, and that gives us the grip we need to unscrew it. It's very finely threaded. Okay. So this is just another plastic collar that holds it all together. And then this is composed of 3 different parts. We have a plastic holder here. And what that is holding on is this part, which is a very thin needle. I don't know if you can see that, but it is very small and fits down inside of here, and that's the very delicate part. But I can see that it definitely has some ink on it and needs to be cleaned, so that was good. So what I'm going to do is just drop this into the alcohol and let that soak in there. And there's a little bit here of ink right around this edge. So I'm going to take a Q-tip, and I'm just going to run it right around here and get that ink loosened up. It's not a whole lot of it. In fact, I think that's done it. Okay. I'm going to clean up around here as well. Okay, so it wasn't too dirty, which is nice. Just had just a little bit of ink on it. Okay. We'll set this aside. And we'll work on this component. This wire basically coming down here is what keeps the ink from just pouring out of the tip of the pen. So the capillary action of the wire inside of the tube at the tip of the pen. And the ink stops and is held in by it. And the tip of this wire just barely sticks out past the end of the tube and makes contact with the paper. Or else it's flush with the end of the tube. I'm not sure if it sticks out or not. But anyway, it just basically holds a very small amount of liquid right at the tip. And when you push it onto paper, the capillary action in the paper pulls the ink out of the pen. So it's a little bit different than, say, a ballpoint pen, which you're basically kind of rubbing the ink into the paper. This is actually being pulled by the paper out of the pen. See if I can get this little area right here. It's a very thin wire, so you treat it very delicately. Okay. Let's very gently dry it off. Then we have to very carefully insert it back inside of here. And sometimes it goes well, but usually it's a hunt and peck. There we go. You just gently tap it in there until you feel it fit inside like it's supposed to. Now this has a little bit of ink back here, but I don't think that that's going to matter. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and it clicks right in place. And that's the most delicate part of the whole operation. Put this back here. And we'll use our tool. Just tighten it. There's not really, can't tighten it a lot, but just snug it in there. Then goes the reservoir. Then the collar. Then the back of the pen. And the cap. I notice these pens are also quite dirty on the outside as well. And I think they've just been scratched, and the ink has kind of settled into those scratches. Some of it's coming off. There's probably dirt from my hand as well, as I was using the pens. So I really like this set of pens. I remember buying them in the college bookstore. And I love the look of them. I love the package. Very technical, very simple, well designed. So let me see some of these other pens here. Try this off. This is the one I used the most Gave me a nice fine line. Doesn't want to unscrew. There we go. Let's just see what it looks like and see if it's actually clean or not. It looks pretty good. There's a little bit of ink on it, but really not much at all. It would definitely still work. Yeah, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so looks like my pens are in pretty good shape. If I ever needed to use them, I'd probably just have to buy some more ink and fill them up. Let me put this back away. So there we go. Not as in bad a shape as I had feared. So that's good to know. I took care of them before I put them away. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I will be making many more videos for you guys. And I will see you in the next video. Alright? Thanks. Bye.